Good morning, Ambazonia. Welcome to the No Kunny Talk Show. This is your host, your vanguard, sense-pass king, Capo Daniel. Today is the first day of September 2019, and we are having this special edition of the No Kunny Talk Zone. We are going to be hosting the revolutionary leader of the Ambazonia War of Independence, Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas. Once more, everybody is welcome to this platform. It is an advocacy platform where we advocate for specific policy to push forth an effective resolution and implementation of the Ambazonian Declaration of Restoration. You are all welcome. We have been offline for some time, and if you are watching us now, you are one of the most smartest Ambazonian, because we have the most smartest Ambazonian critical thinkers as our viewers. You are the 1% of the most influential audience in Ambazonia. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. I want to apologize for starting late. We have a little bit, it's about 3 a.m. in Hong Kong time. So you could imagine all the logistic challenge to get started. Once again, it has been a while since we do our No Kunny Talk Zone. We have received a lot of positive feedback from every Ambazonians of all stripes regarding our show. At a moment where the things that we have been preaching have come to pass, you would have expected us to be banging the drums and claiming credit and having the rating, but this is not about rating. This is about the Ambazonia people. This is about you. So once more, ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to the No Kunny Talk Show. We are going to have the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council, who is the leader of the Ambazonian War of Independence, Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas, in a while. As usual, we are going to start with our national anthem, and I'm going to play a special song to welcome everybody, a time where I will greet every participant. And I want to remind you that comments, the comment section is limited only to friends of this platform. And the reason was to protect our platform against sabotage and attack from La République du Cameroon and the Blue Army. And this is our policy. So Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas will be here very soon. And we are not going to open the comment for public. It is going to subdue the viewership. Regardless, we are here for substance, and if you are here, we are not going to wait until we have 1,000 viewers. share until we have 1,000 viewers before we are going to go with our show. We are confident in our skin. We are confident in what we do. We are confident in our influence in the Ambazonian revolution, and Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas is as well confident in his skin. But for a more interactive conversation with Dr. Ayaba Cho, I will invite you to share the link, and we are going to get ready with our national anthem, and we are going to have a song to welcome everybody. So once more again, thank you everybody. Let's start with our national anthem. Join me to pay allegiance to our flag, to who we are as a people, and to the values we hold as Ambazonian and the people of that territory, the British Southern Cameroon. Our national anthem.
Hail, hail, hail this man of glory. We the Ambazonians, special loyalty. Praises to our Savior who granted us a freedom. A legend to the hero who bought his land with Diablo. From glory to glory we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom,
You shall live in plenty, meeting our need. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, Ambazonia, land of freedom, land of promise. The Most High God is the watchman of our nation. Once more, everybody, you are welcome to the No Kunny Talk Zone, an advocacy platform where we push for an effective implementation of the restoration of the Southern Cameroons as declared by Siseko Ayub Tabi on 2017. I am your host, Capo Daniel Lukong, Sense Past King, and tonight we are going to have the revolutionary leader, Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas. You are all welcome. I'm going to run the program to you so that you have an idea what we are going to do. We are going to have a brief opening statement from me. We are first going to have a song to welcome everybody, as usual, as our usual practice, and then we are going to have an opening statement from me. Then that is going to lead us to welcoming of Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas, and I'm going to present to him some questions. We are trying to make the program to be an hour 30 minutes. It's 3 a.m. in Hong Kong time, and I'll have to be preparing for work at 5 o'clock. Nevertheless, our boys in the bushes are not sleeping, so we are not sleeping in the diaspora, holding the line, being the vanguard for them. So once more, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the No Kunny Talk Zone. It's our moment for me to greet all our viewers. And remember, if you are watching me right now, you are one of the most influential Ambazonian audience. You are one of the most smartest free thinkers in Ambazonia, because that is the crowd we have. We have limited the comment section only to friends in this platform. It is a strategic policy. We understand it does subdue our viewership, and it is not entertaining anymore. It doesn't entertain anybody, but that is what we want to do. We have decided, because we are not going in for popularity. I've been away for some time. You would have imagined that after we have been talking about the issue of government, after we have been talking about the issue of corruption, after we have been talking about the undercover negotiation that was going on with La République du Cameroun, with Samuel Ikome, the former AIP, that when all these things will be surfacing, Capo Daniel will be there banging the drums to say, I tell you so, I tell you so, and get all the credit and have more viewers and more ratings on my show and on this platform. But no, that is not who I am. That is not what I am. We are not here for popularity. We are not here to claim credit. We are not here to get validation. We are here to serve, and we will never rush to claim credit for anything soever. Our objective is to assist the Ambazonian people to have their independence and their restoration. Whatever we are doing will be wasted if we do not attain independence of Ambazonia. Nothing but independence. That is why I do the things I do, and that is why we do not rush to claim credit. We don't want to say we told you so. So once more, everybody welcome. We can see CIC is there. I salute CIC on behalf of all the Ambazonian Defense Forces. In a while, we are going to bring CIC to join me live. For the meantime, it is the time for me to greet everybody as our tradition, and then I will do my opening statement. I have a very special song today from one of an Ambazonian artists. This song was just released a couple of days ago, so join me as I greet everybody using this wonderful piece of song. So I salute all man for Ground Zero, all Ambazonian fighters for Fako, for Meme, for Nkokitunja, for Mezam. Atreona salute. All our boys for Tiko, Miselele, Atreona salute. All those that don't cross the Mongo into La République du Cameroun, Atreona salute. All Ambazonian activists for WhatsApp, Atreona salute. All are welcome for the No Kunny Talk Zone. Iko Kan, you are welcome. Kinsu Danjo, you are welcome. Zara, you are welcome. Rohida, you are welcome. State Department, Dr. Larry, hey yo. Atre salute. Malaika Loughlin, everybody, you are welcome in the house. Long time no see. Grace Support, you are welcome. Ebony Tracy, you are welcome. And the fans who are watching me, I know you. You are there. You're welcome. Joshua Amba, you are welcome. Human Right, the powerful German lady from Ambazonia, you are welcome. You're welcome. We pay tribute to General Ayaba, the General of Generals, and all those who have gone before us, who have paid the ultimate price for our freedom. We promise them we will stay true to the cause until Ambazonia independence is attained. We will not blink. We promise you, General Ayaba, and all those who have gone before us, we will not blink. We owe that to you, and we will stay the course. Over our dead body, we will not blink. Zara Zika, you're welcome. Gia Wilson, you're welcome.
Let's get out of slumber.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Don't wait for no one. Every day now, homeland is murder. Let's get out of slumber.
Fredo, Capo Fredo, you're welcome. And everybody is welcome to the No Politics Zone, where we speak truth to power. We hold leadership to account. Jay Kavi, my beloved hero, our mentor. We love you, brother. We love you, brother. Yufa, you're welcome. Amabo Christine, you're welcome, my sister. And we want to remind you again, the comment section is limited, but this is the moment where you can actually share to have a more interactive show. You are all welcome. You are welcome. I greet the great people of the city of China. Amik, I greet you all. The debate club in China, I greet you all. The people in Finland, Norway, Germany, USA, West Coast, those in Africa, in South Africa, in Ghana, Ajoy Salute, those in Lagos, Nigeria, Ajoy Salute. So you're all welcome, you're welcome. I can see Big Mama, you're welcome. Raphael Nana, you're welcome. Today we are going to hold Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas to give us an in-depth into the revolution, into diplomacy, into unity, into the contenderhood both in ground zero and in the diaspora. We are going to go deep in his speeches to give us more and more and more. Welcome, my sister. Ambazonia warrior, you're welcome. And everybody using the profile because you are unable due to the terrorism of Republic Cameroon. You're welcome. One day we could fly.
Let's get out of slumber. Who's gonna free our homeland? Don't wait for no one.
Don't wait for no one.
Homeland is murder. Let's get
Martin
out of slumber.
Monono.
Who's gonna free our homeland?
General Epa, the Supreme Commander, Ajoy Salute. General RK, Ajoy Salute. General Spirito, General Kata, Ajoy Salute. Once more, we want to pay tribute to my very good friend, our national hero, General Mba Ivor, who live forever. His spirits live forever. And we want to tell him, wherever he is watching down on us, he has set a good example for our generation, the post-colonial generation, the never again generation. We want to promise him for paying the ultimate price for our freedom, that we will not blink. Ambazonia will not blink. Woman of God, woman of virtue, immaculate, our mother, we welcome you, Mama. We welcome you. And thank you for being there. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the No Connect Zone. We want to inform you and remind you once more that the comment section is limited just to friends on this platform. If you want to be able to comment, you have to contact me so that we explain to you what we do. And we are not going out for popularity, so it will kind of suppress our viewership, but that is okay. And if you are able to stay in this viewership, you are one of the most smartest Ambazonian, because we boast of always having the smartest free thinkers following this platform. So you are welcome. I will start with my opening statement. We are going to welcome Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas. I'll be mining your comment so that I can reflect it in my questioning. But remember, I am the host. Do not take over. So everybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome. Raisa, you are welcome. So it has been 3 years. And I want to also inform you that I speak Pidgin English. Pidgin Standard English. That is my first language, and that is the language of Ambazonia. That is the language of the majority of us. So I will be speaking in Pidgin English as well and interchanging it with English. So please do not be surprised of my lingo. We are not just focused on the international audience. We are also focused to the Ambazonia people because you are important. So welcome to the No Kunny Talk Zone. It has been 3 years now we have engaged inside this war for independence. It has been 3 years now since Seseko declared our restoration. It has been over 3 years, more than 3 years, since all our leaders they be gathered for Conclave 1. They be decide, say the movement where we start for ground zero, where they call them the Coffin Revolution, where they be the demand for federation. They be then come agree together for whole stick together with all those nationalist leaders them. Ayaba Cho, Bo, Herbert, Godi Dinka, and the SCNC, Pafo, Ngalafo, and all those pioneers and veterans of Southern Cameroon. Those civil society leaders, they be decide for come meet up them for Conclave number 1. For decide, say, the solution for all the problem will be the face for La Republic. For that union, we will do La Republic. Now for we for change, for pursue federation and independence. It has been 3 weeks now we sit there for that fight. So today we get Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas. He go there for here for talk with us. This platform have believed that this is an opportunity. We have believed as a Messianic Christian, as a Messianic Jew, that this revolution is ordained by God. It is answered prayer to the years and years of crusade. I was a young man. As a young man, I was an evangelist. I was one of the product of Billy Graham, of the Campus Crusade for Christ. We have been going from village to village in Ambazonia, preaching the good news of Jesus Christ. That the good news have come. Salvation have come to the poor to become something. To those mothers who want their children to be able to go to school and become something. That there is hope. And we believe this Ambazonian revolution is God ordained, is answered prayers for the years and years of crusade, of Christian crusade in Ambazonia. Years and years of Njangi meeting, of people that is done for us and say how they are picking to go do see light. Now which kind country this way, no matter how you dig and then grumbip, you know if you succeed on set unless your family man there for some place. There is no hope for the poor man. Mami them for 60 years, they see cook go for farm, for work farm, for their picking them. This revolution na answer prayer for all those problems they hold on the face them. Where any man where want see light must travel for abroad. This revolution is an answered prayer. And this platform, we join this revolution because we believe our restoration is possible. We started off as supporting federalism, but after deep study, it wasn't an emotional decision, but after deep study, we believe that just like the South African, who fought for 74 years, just like the slaves who fought against slavery, just like the colonists who fought against colonialism, we believe that the Ambazonian people can have independence. That is why we start up this platform to assist and volunteer the Ambazonian revolution by serving the leaders, not by becoming the leader, not by hijacking movements, but by serving the leaders as an activist, by holding true to the principle of being a vanguard to the revolution, by speaking nothing but the truth as much as we can, and we to play that role, to propagate our identity, our language of Pidgin English to the Ambazonian people, to give them strength, to empower them to be able to attain their dream and their aspiration of an independent state. Today we are going to have Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas, the executive president of the Ambazonian Governing Council, who is due to be the leader of the Ambazonian revolution, the most charismatic Ambazonian leader of our generation, the never again generation. We are going to invite him now to come up and have a conversation, an in-depth conversation with us, with the hope of providing information to the Ambazonian people, because we believe in the rights to know. We believe in popular the court of popular opinion. So I'm going to invite Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas right now. I'm going to do that now. Okay. Just bear with me for a minute as I scroll down my list. Okay. I hope, oh yes, he's there. I'm the CIC. So please keep your comments civil. And anyway, we have selected our viewers who can comment. So you have, it will subdue the viewership, but that is fine. Yes, the sound quality is good today. Surprisingly, Facebook have not noticed that Kunny Talk Show is back. So we are going to have an in-depth conversation with progress in diplomacy. We are going to talk about the Norway offer. We are going to talk about the letter from the Ambazonian Governing Council's office to the public that discuss certain things concerning dialogue and our partners in dialogue. I think he did not join. I have added him. Let me add CIC a little bit again. Okay. I'm trying to add Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas again. Oh, he's available now. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've added Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas. He'll be appearing on the screen right next to me. Within some few minutes, my screen is showing adding. I'm connected. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thanks a lot.
I want to request you
to turn your camera.
You appear.
A little bit.
1 second.
You appear.
I'm still a bit down, right?
So while I think the CIC is trying to adjust
I want to
his
spin
camera.
you upside.
You're using your laptop, I think.
How does it fit?
It is vertical. You have to tilt it. Yes, this is the perfect angle.
No, I'm using my... Is it okay this way?
That's perfect now.
All right, then I need to elevate it. Just give me a moment.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can drop your questions as well on the screen. I'll be selecting some few questions from the audience as well. We are not going to have an open line. We are going to try to keep the conversation for an hour and 30 minutes. So please, you don't try to hijack the platform. I will be the host. So, and I will be mining your questions and your comments, and I'll include them in my conversation with Dr. Ayaba Cho Lucas, the leader of our revolution. So please, just give a minute. Just give a minute. We are going to have an in-depth conversation today, from diplomacy to ground zero contenderhood to school boycott and many other things. So we invite you to share the link once more, and to mind you that you may not be able to comment if you are not a friend of mine on Facebook, and that is for strategic reasons. So we understand that also suppresses viewership, but that is okay. If you are watching us, you are one of the most smartest Ambazonian. Welcome, CIC.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Capo. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm sorry we had a little bit delayed, and I'm very happy you have joined us again in this platform, the No Kunny Talk Zone. And be expected to receive questions in Pidgin English as well. And it's about 3 a.m. in Hong Kong. I'm sure it should be around evening time in Norway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So CIC, and I want to start this conversation by asking you with the series of attacks we have seen in the newspaper publication back in the Cameroons. And the Cameroon government have tried to smear and attack personally the Prime Minister of Norway, Prime Minister Edna Solberg. What is that all about? Is that indicative of some progress we are making with the Norway government?
Thanks for having me, and thanks to all of our viewers, all of our citizens who are watching. Thanks for your trust and confidence in us, and I can assure you that your confidence and trust will never be abused, and that we are going to prosecute this war of independence to its logical conclusion. And we are making enormous progress at all the three levels of internationalization, targeted diplomacy, and self-defense. I know what's going on, and Cameroon is down. It's for us to be disciplined as a people and get the international community to recognize us and help us set up a transitional authority that will begin governing, bring back the IDPs. In terms of your question, I made a statement. I was forced to make that statement because the way that the State Department and the Office of the Vice President and international recognition work is that diplomacy is covered. But I had informed the Ambazonian people that there is the necessity to seek for a guarantor that will join any other international stakeholder like Switzerland and others in the process of a negotiated settlement. And I had informed our people that we were actively seeking a guarantor, you know, that we believe understands what is at stake for us, has experience in dealing with issues of this magnitude, and have dealt with us in the past. And so we had sent a couple of letters out. I don't want to make any more statement more than what I issued in my public statement. But the attack of Cameroon on the Kingdom of Norway was symptomatic of a state that is in decline. And we are also sure that some other country, you know, probably had hinted Yaoundé on what we were doing, because there has been a series of discussions in the background, which I will not delve into. The Vice President and the State Department will inform our people in due time. But I can assure everyone that we keep to our words, irrespective of the politics of the struggle. We will not enter into any premature discussion on our future when there is no clarity in the procedure and in the substantive aspects of those discussions. We are the ones facing the bullet and the bayonet. We've been deceived before. We will not be deceived again. And we stake our claim for Cameroon to withdraw from our homeland. And we ask all those who betrayed us to take a stand for justice and for the freedom of Ambazonia. And we are seeing some movements, and they are positive, but we should increase our pressure on Cameroon on the ground. We have the possibility to defeat them outrightly and lay a claim over our land and part of their territory if they refuse to pay us compensation.
Yes, sir. I think I really appreciate the way the AGOVC have been going about the corridors of diplomacy, keeping a high degree of secrecy, at the same time balancing it with the need to know for the Ambazonian public what is being done on our behalf. And before we get back to that, sir, I want to just ask, because we have seen the government of the Republic of Cameroon try to use judicial intimidation and also carry that abroad to discredit activists and leaders like yourself. We have seen in the United States some activists being involved with the FBI. We do not have exact information. We have seen some ministers of La République du Cameroun try to attack us and delegitimize a legitimate struggle for the people by calling us names like terrorists and things like that, which are not substantiated. I want us to ask, do you have experienced those things in Switzerland? Because we saw the publication of a Swiss major newspaper calling you a freedom fighter. that was very relieving for Ambazonian people. Can you speak for us about that?
I'm not really concerned what anybody calls me about. You know, you can call me whatever you want to call me. You know, we've lost 10,000 people in our homeland. We've got hundreds of villages burnt, 5 million people affected, hundreds of thousands of our people displaced in bushes, women put into birth, you know, in bushes, women using leaves as part material. We've got our people in Nigeria. We've got leaders kidnapped from Nigeria and rendition to Yaoundé, where they are detained under inhumane and degrading condition. We've got prisoners who have died in Kondengui. Who is the damn terrorist? Call me whoever you are, you want to call me. Before I really stake my life in this thing, I don't care about my life. I don't care about what anyone, any country that betrayed our nation call us. We have a claim to our homeland. We're fighting within the, you know, the remit of international law. Take us to whatever court you want to take us. You're not going to defeat us. Ambazonia is free. The world will have to face that reality. Yaoundé is desperately pursuing a lost war. And we have said Cameroon will cease to exist as a state if they continue on this desperation. So I don't get up in the morning and I really, you know, sit and I'm thinking about, you know, who you call me. They've called me all sort of names, not only Cameroon, including our own people. I don't care for 1 second. The enemy must get out of our land. They are the butchers of our people, the kidnappers of our leaders, the torturers of our prisoners, those who deprive our people of education, those who destroyed our entire system and brought so much pain to our community. If there is any true definition of terrorism that quantifies, you know, the kind of crimes that have been committed, you damn really care who is the terrorist in this battle.
Yes, sir. That is true. And to just follow up on what you started with the issue of searching for a guarantor to stand behind Ambazonia as the talk keeps going about negotiation and dialogue to resolve this problem with La République du Cameroon. How far have we gone in terms of making progress to secure a nation state? We previously read from a statement from your office that talks about certain contacts with some heads of states. Can you give us a little bit more information to the Ambazonia people? How far have we gone in terms of securing a third-party country to become a guarantor or become part of the negotiation, if there is a negotiation?
Capo, you made a statement about, you know, sometimes the conflict between the right of the Ambazonian people to know and issues of secrecy and living up to what they call NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. What I'll let the Ambazonian people to know is that the Ambazonian Governing Council has a brand. I lead based on that brand. That brand is sticking to the truth. Be honest with the Ambazonian people. And I am telling you, we've made progress. I have told the leadership of AGOVC, we will not deal in absolute secrecy when it comes to the issue of international diplomacy or negotiated settlement. We will inform our people anytime there is supposed to be a meeting. We will inform them when that meeting concludes. We are still working extremely very hard. We have made enormous progress in terms of what you have asked. And I want to assure our people that the progress we have made is gigantic. I will not say more. If you trust in me, trust in my word. We have made progress. We are stable. We are focused. The world understands who we are. And the Ambazonian people can count on this steadfastness and focused approach to dealing with the decolonization campaign of our country. At the appropriate time, we'll put our cards out. When our leadership, led by the Vice President, traveled to the Basque, it was public. But before then, there was a lot of backdoor discussions. before the EIP got into the fore, there were backdoor discussions which we didn't talk about. You saw the results. We have made progress. We will inform you in due course.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for that information. And we are now 3 years into the war of our independence. And we have had the war basically stay quiet on our issue. I want to just ask, what should the Ambazonia people expect from the next session of the General Assembly of the United Nations, given that the French government have been working, burning the midnight candle to make sure that our case do not see the daylight in the United Nations? What expectation do we have for the upcoming session of the General Assembly of the United Nations organization?
No expectations. Don't expect any dramatic message or any dramatic statement. But there are movements. There are a lot of activities going on at the periphery of the United Nations. Nation states are concerting. Former heads of state across the globe are talking about this. We missed one very unique opportunity to bring our case in front of the General Assembly. I will inform the Ambazonian people in due course what that was. We have them in video, we have them in picture, and we'll put them out at the appropriate time. I don't want to focus sometimes on the obstacles that we have faced in making some enormous progress. It wouldn't help. Leaders find solutions, they don't cry. But I can assure you that the United Nations General Assembly will have to deal with this issue, especially when it comes to the issue of negotiated settlement. We will not talk, we will not enter into any discussion on the issue of decolonization without a country seeking and receiving a UN General Assembly resolution authorizing them to facilitate or mediate. And the content of that resolution will be decided by us to a certain extent. So there are movements in different fronts. I had a couple of meetings yesterday on some movements within Africa. I know the ARC leadership is working on some of those things in collaboration with the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council and with some international experts. So we are doing our due diligence in our approach to targeted diplomacy. We are marrying that with the necessity for protective self-defense, not only to protect our people, but to make sure we keep our cities safe and we can protect our civilian population and dislodge the last outpost of, the decadent political system.
So a couple of months ago, the Ambazonian people were very, very upbeat with the progress that was being made in the Basque. We have seen the resolution that was passed to support Ambazonian right of self-determination by the Basque Parliament, and we are very hopeful with the. I personally interviewed some of their senators and their parliaments who are in the European Parliament. They do understand our case, and we were very, very optimistic. A recent document from your office had stated that the European Institute of Peace, which is a renowned institute that had stood behind us, organized session to enable and advise our leadership on how to proceed. We were hopeful that this institution, being a European-backed institution, will give some hope for a negotiated settlement as soon as possible for this case. The news that this organization have withdrawn, is this a direct result of the Switzerland government announcing that they want to mediate and some leaders going there to accept that offer? Is this a direct result of that decision?
I don't want to say it's because those leaders went there. No, that would be wrong. I have read their letter and their explanation, and I understand why. The involvement of the Swiss, there is a reason. I will not talk about that. I have gotten some detailed explanation, not from Switzerland, and it's understandable. and the EIP did not want to duplicate because there was a surge from within European states to back the Swiss intent. And there was also backing from within Africa, the offices of the UN Secretary General and the government of the United States. And so it was expected that the Institute would take a back seat. And that is not unusual. But the State Department has written to them, I think the Vice President and the Secretary for recognition, and thank them for their services. And I know we still need those services. We are observing a lot of issues. We are monitoring movements, and we are doing our homework and to see how we can manage the process. I'm not sure what your next moves are, but we are pretty sure what our next moves are. And Cameroon pretty understands what the end game is going to look like. And so I'm very confident about our position. Some might say it's radical. Some might say AGOC wants it its way or no way. No, AGOC has no way. The Ambazonian people have their way. It is not based on AGOC, it's based on a careful study of where we faltered before, from, succumbing to the two alternatives and succumbing to Cameroon's decision to create a federation of itself on the 1st of September 1961, succumbing to the charade of Fumban, succumbing to all charades that the international system has cooked up. And we have come to the stage where, with the amount of people who have died, with the amount of people that came out on the 22nd of September 2017, those who came out on the 1st of October, a reflection of the signature referendum of 1995 or 1996, we think taking a very strong stance that make it impossible for us to fall again into the trap of the international system is doing Ambazonia justice.
So don't you have concern that the leaders of some movements, who are definitely not the main, or let me just say the leading factions of the Ambazonian revolution, who have accepted to go and meet with the Switzerland, can undermine the stance of both the interim government and the AGOC, who have said that the conditions are not good enough for us to be able to participate in such a Switzerland negotiation as it is. Don't you think that those movements who are bent on going it alone, irrespective of their consequence in the revolution effort, are you not concerned about that?
No. The movements know. They know. They know that, I don't want to sound arrogant, but they know. They know that we have thousands of men on the ground. No one is going to twat this stuff. No one. You attempt to twat it, we're going to overrun the territory. No one. The Swiss know. The Americans know. And we've said it's not going to work until you get it right. And so Ambazonia should not be worried. People can fly to Switzerland. They can do what they want. They can blackmail what they want. The reason why I'm not arrogant, because I know sometimes I need them, right? We are powerful. We are a powerful bloc. But you see, there is no need to be arrogant, because even though you are powerful in a conflict like this, anyone with a rifle, is seen as a stakeholder. Anyone dealing with the Swiss, they know the end game. They know that nothing will move until we say it should move.
Some people are complaining about my volume. I hope it is okay. I've turned it up to maximum. So, sir, talking about bloc, we have seen those who have gone to Switzerland making a claim that they are of the majority of Ambazonian movements. I don't know whether there is some type of Is this some type of a democratic election of how many people are going, how many people are not going? And but this has, we are very encouraged to see movement, and your speech in Canada directly talking and giving more information to the Amazonian public about the possibility of actualizing some sort of union or collaborative unity with the interim government of Siseko Tabi. And some hardened critics of yours are questioning your intention of engaging in collaboration with Siseko Tabi, and they are citing unsubstantiated claims that you had refused to unite with Siseko when he was a free man, and questioning that you may have an agenda to dominate and eventually overthrow Mr. Yerima, who is the acting interim president in place of Siseko Tabi. So what would you say to those critics?
I signed an agreement with Sako. I signed. The pictures are there. We were in Skakov. I was in Washington. I was in New York with Siseko. Of course, I've rejected the notion of an interim government, and I stand by that without any apologies. And Siseko, I want to overthrow him from what? You know, when Ambazonians sleep and dream while, you know, they sit and dream while being awake, you know, I can't blame them, because we're all victims of the colonial state. Siseko is in jail. Let them learn history, study history. Mandela left from jail to become the president. It is likely I'm going to die before Siseko. These people have no clue about history. Siseko is more powerful in prison. He is likely to leave from there and enter, if we have a presidency, and become the president. I'm likely to be taken out. So which history, you know, which school did they go to? Let them look at every revolution. Mandela was in jail, left from there, Aung San Suu Kyi.
So I think we hope that with in the 21st century, you are not going to be taken out. We count on the Norway's to protect you. Our hope is that we want to see you in Boya, because with your leadership skill and your respect for in the way you run the agency, to tell you the truth, the way you give liberty to every official of the AGOFC and the ADF, it is really admirable. Those are the type of quality we want to see in Ambazonia. So we hope, we don't hope.
Capo, let me talk about this issue of their suspicion and so I know, you know, the people writing all those stuff. You know, I have always sought for Siseko and myself to work together. Siseko was deceived to believe that, you know, you should forget about this Ayaba. They can sabotage him to oblivion. Siseko was deceived to believe that. The only reason it is possible, it's not absolute, it's not certain, is because both leaders have recognized we need one another. It's still not easy. You still have people within the AGOFC who are not interested because of what we've gone through as a movement and what I've gone through as a leader. We have people also in the Siseko camp who still have this belief of themselves being a government. And I've made it clear, no, I'm dealing with a movement, not a government. I see the IG, not IG of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. I see the IG. I see it as a movement. And when we work on that, we're going to find issues, common grounds to work. Also, you know, people don't know Comrade Yerima. I've known Comrade Yerima for probably 17 years. You know, who can overthrow Yerima? He's a tough guy. He's a tough man. You know, he's a man with his feet on the ground. He's experienced. So sometimes when you have, not because he's not out there all kind of turning a revolution as though it's a political campaign, that they are having this all these discussions. I have said this. I've said this. AGOVC has the capacity in due course to defeat La République. The ADF has that capacity to defeat La République in due course. I have been able to work hard to bring the forces together. I started this long ago, so they can have some level of collaboration. And each time I try my best, to see that we can have some basic understanding, they say, oh no, there is a plan, he wants to overthrow. The notion of overthrow is based on a perception of hierarchy, right? It's the same thing when we mobilize funds in the United States. And it was discussed that the funds should be given to the defense groups. And they started shouting, oh no, if you put money into ADF, you make Ayaba powerful and he is gonna. No, I'm a Democrat. Before I entered into discussion with Comrade Siseko, I brought the two houses of the AGOVC, the National Council and the Council of Missions, to authorize me with a vote. They voted and gave me that authorization. And it was not a blank check. Any agreement that we make, I have to come back to them to look at the agreement and endorse it. And I have said it's important to make this attempt, because each time we don't make movement, they say AGOVC doesn't want to collaborate. We make movement towards that direction, they say we have an agenda. What is the agenda? Let Ambazonians know. The only agenda is to build some form of cohesion that can assure the international system that we are ready to take over the space created by the defeat of Cameroon. At least we can find some common grounds, like on the issue of a common list of experts who can talk on behalf of all of us, like a national campaign for the prisoners. We have never had a national campaign. We've had partisan campaigns. What about a national campaign by Ambazonians to explain to the world the plight, of those who are locked up in different cells in Kondengi or across our own territory? So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to make this attempt. And I think Ambazonia should be very supportive of. There's a lot of anger.
Yeah.
A lot of suspicion. There's a lot of suspicion on both sides.
Yeah, I think that
the Seko side thing.
People would wonder that some officials in the AGOVC have been calling for the dissolving of the IG. And at a moment when the IG was going through this infighting, you could have easily allowed the IG to implode. But you are engaging in collaborative unity with the IG at this moment. It is applaudable, and so we are very appreciative of the AGOVC policy of always informing the public, because we believe in the guarantee of public knowledge. And I want to ask you that in our past we have seen our leaders who came together to have the memorandum of understanding, which basically give birth to the institutions and the movement that we have today as the IG. And it was a dream come true for all Ambazonians to see the formation of SCACUF. But in the book of it, even in the speeches of the officials of the SCACUF, there was no respect for the hierarchy of the leadership council, and eventually the whole unity structure just crumbled before our own eyes. We have become a mockery to ourselves and to our enemy, the way we have to fight to explain ourselves, and people do not even understand what we are talking about. It has taken us about a year or two to get Ambazonian people to even understand the Ambazonian politics. What guarantee are going to be there that this time this unity with the interim government is going to succeed? And is there a probability for you to have this same collaboration and unity together with the organizations that have stood side by side with your policy, like the Republic of Ambazonia of His Excellency Fongodi Dinka?
First, my priority are my traditional allies, those in ARC. That's my first priority. And so that's why every move I have made with respect to Comrade Siseko, I have informed the leadership of ARC, and to make sure that whatever we're doing, we are all in sync. And I'm also aware that Comrade Yerima has spoken with the leadership of ARC. And so I'm not doing this thing in isolation. I will not break my traditional alliances, and I will not do anything that impairs those traditional alliances. I don't have any guarantee. I don't have any guarantee to tell you that, you know, I can predict, you know, how actors, you know, are gonna behave. I can guarantee for myself that if due process is followed, we're gonna collaborate. But the way I'm looking at this collaboration is different from the way we define collaboration in the past. In the past, we tried to lump in groups to create a hierarchy under a couple of individuals. No, this time, maintain your lane and maintain my lane. And let's work on common issues. Keep your organization, I keep my organization. We are not creating any structure. We are finding those issues that we agree on. We work together. For example, the lockdown. That's an issue. It means I don't unilaterally call for a lockdown. I use the triangulation. I consult with other leaders. We agree. We ask the defense forces. They look at the situation of the ground. They set a date. We review the dates. We endorse. So that's an issue that we agree on. We learned the other day that the appeal by Siseko had been denied because of funding. I was informed about it. It's an issue that concerns every Ambazonian, and we offer our support. The AGOVC UK and the Siseko camp are working together for a town hall in Manchester, I think on the 5th of October. I will be there, Comrade Yerima will be there. That's an issue we can work on. We looked at the list of experts that can speak on our behalf. I looked at their list, I look at ours. Are there common grounds for us to form a single list? Yes. Can we work on that? Yes. So we must find a different approach, an approach that shows respect for every movement, an approach that shows respect for every leader and recognizes their contribution towards our own emancipation. And I think that's an approach that is tested and proven and is workable.
It was very relieving to see the flyers with your face and the face of Siseko Ayoktabi on it, because we really do believe that we have not fully exploited the figure of Siseko being in jail as a national symbol, like the South African did with Nelson Mandela. And we are hoping to see the campaign. The campaign being led by the Justice for Naira 12 has not been reaching out to other activists, other platforms, and neither have we seen them really selling this idea to other movements. So do we hope to see in the coming days the AGOVC projecting Siseko as a figure, campaigning, because you being one of the best campaigners, best branders in Ambazonia, do the Ambazonia people expect to see you using more of the image of Siseko to project the Ambazonian people?
Yes, once the working teams agree on a way of doing this stuff, we will be bound to do that. He's a strong personality. He's a national figure, and he's a symbol of our resistance. And I think rather than always project Siseko in a partisan way, we should look at him from a nationalistic perspective. And that's why, though I applaud all those who've been fighting for him, I think most people have exploited him for their own benefit and have dumped him when they thought he was not useful. And I have my principle. If you touch even Sako, I'm gonna fight for him. So I don't really care. You know, some of the differences once you locked up. If you picked up, you know, an Ambazonian who believes in the things we believe in, we're gonna campaign for him. And I think we have a collective responsibility to campaign for Siseko and all the others whose liberty has been taken away because they stake their lives and everything they had to fight for all of us. And I hope to God Almighty that there is a common ground on how such a campaign can be driven. And you bet you can count on me.
So we have heard the declaration. We have actually, it is also our position that the military Cameroonese have been defeated in our territory, and the dynamic control of the political leadership being exerted on the territory right now demonstrates that Cameroon have been defeated. And we have also heard from your office the talk of the capital shift or having some sort of governance on the terrain. What projection do you have in this regard?
I don't want to make a projection, but we will move the capital. I said it before. We will move the capital at an appropriate time, and it will be tied with, you know, an international move, some strategic political decisions that will be done. Because as far as I am concerned, Cameroon is vanquished. We do not want to seize and hold massive areas, because we will provide them a battlefield, and we will take responsibilities that we cannot finance, like healthcare, social services, and all the other things. But occupation is predicated on political governance and extortion, and Cameroon has lost those priorities it has had for 57 years. And so we are working carefully. We don't want to make any mistake, and we're working carefully, making sure we upgrade our defense forces on the ground, because there is a plan. There is a plan on how this will be done, and at the appropriate time, God willing, in the shortest time possible, once we enact that plan, there will be a seismic shift in the way that, you know, the politics of the revolution is projected.
So now also that the Ambazonian forces, pro-independent forces, I think being led by the ADF, which we consider as the spearhead of our revolutionary forces, they have successfully defeated les armées camerounaises. They have successfully removed more than 95% of the colonial administrators, the dues, the SDUs of our territory, and most enablers who have stood to legitimize the occupation by standing as parliamentarians, senators, have all left the territory. And this sense of vacuum. And when we watch images of the rural areas, we see this emptiness in the territory. Are there some type of projection to give the people psychologically of our dynamic control, trying to fill this gap? Or what should the people think of this moment of transition where we are still struggling to effectuate recognition and eventually governance of our territory? What type of imagination should they have during this period of dynamic control of our political leadership as going to their day-to-day issues?
What I would advise our people is to have confidence in what they are observing on the ground. And we should not be, there should be no anxiety. We should not make any miscalculations, because we can roll back the gains we've made. Dynamic control is a strategy. It's not an objective, it's a strategy. And when we move from dynamic to static control, the Ambazonians will see that. They will feel it. And so let's maintain dynamic control. We should not shift the goalpost.
So there is
Let's
nothing
remain
like
at this stage.
there is nothing like some plan of local government by local government or having some type of
No,
election of dues and governors and things like that. Should the Ambazonia people expect such type of policies that we have seen the interim government tried its hands in?
I don't want to get into that, but let me say what I think is real. It doesn't mean there are no little structures. For example, General Efan was in Libialem a couple of weeks ago, and putting in place a kind of a system of justice where we can stamp out some of the corruption in the ranks of our forces, some of the acts of desperation that lead sometimes to kidnapping and extortion. And sometimes you want to allow the policing to civilian population. And so we got the local chiefs to take care of that. But we are not moving to a radical shift in political posturing to be creating administrative units, because there will be what they call competing forces of power. The situation is still very fluid, and our guys on the ground have a sense of ownership. And once you shift authority into any kind of security, you can politicize that institution that begins to show allegiance and divide the forces. So we should be extremely very careful and focus on a liberation philosophy that integrates in a very gradual way some civilian institutions that can deal with issues of policing. And so I have said we should not have anxiety. There is a plan, there is a strategy, and that strategy is working as we had anticipated. Any wrong move, we're going to roll back our gains.
In the initial stages of this war, we saw the governor of the southern zone, the colonial governor, try to push away our population so that they could have an upper hand in the battlefield. But these days we are seeing Ambazonian abandoning villages. Are you concerned? Are there some specific policies or some address for you to try to repopulate the rural areas? Do you think it's a good idea for people to come back to the villages and go back to farm? Are you going to address this issue to the Ambazonian people regarding the depopulation of our villages?
The depopulation is caused by the brutality of Cameroon. And because of our strategy of dynamic control, we don't want to force people into places where you cannot guarantee their security. And that's why I had asked the Ambazonian people to fund the sniper project. In that situation, we should be able to cover, different perimeters using expertise knowledge with our snipers. I know sometimes it's deliberate because there's a long-term political strategy by Cameroon to depopulate and repopulate with people that, it thinks if there is any United Nations sponsored a referendum, it can have an upper hand. We are observing, we deal with each situation as we see it and based on the strength of our forces within that particular locality. But I'm proud of our population. In certain areas, they've been doing a lot of work in terms of community mobilization, constructing roads. We have seen under General RK, pupils being able to go to school. We have seen the highway of General Ivo docked by the population. And so I don't want to, when I look at the statistics, I'm not worried. I'm worried more in terms of La Republique's action within certain areas. And I think it's necessary for us to increase the capability of our forces and build special forces that can be able to counter the actions of Cameroon.
What message do you have for the Ambazonian people who have been going through the proliferation of kidnappings and the creating of chaos in Ground Zero, in particularly done directly by Atanganji Paul, by using his proxy forces and sometimes using his influence? And what do you say to the people who are going through these consequences? This is basically terrorism sponsored by La République du Cameroun. for how long do you think, with increasing anxiety on ground zero, with the proliferation of kidnappings and all those stuff, we have fought, I would say we have fought them very hard with some activists on our front, and that we have really cut down the amount of kidnappings in our territory, but they keep on using new ways. I think last month we had a lot of incidents where the people who were caught were former informants of gendarmes and police. So La République du Cameroon, they are trying to proliferate kidnappings in our territory, and our citizens are very worried. Can you address this issue to our people, to this audience?
Yeah, it's very disturbing. I deal with it on a daily basis. Yesterday, I was dealing with, the corpse of one of our people that was stopped around Ndo. And so it's very heartbreaking, because when we observe the spirit, the enthusiasm that gripped our people, and we observe now that they are being kidnapped, the ransom being collected, families being terrorized. It's very painful. But I'm also happy that, as you have said, we've worked collectively with our ground forces, our social media bloggers, to educate our population and to be able to expose some of the agents that are behind this kidnapping. We understand a small minority have emerged from our ranks, and they are brave commanders who have taken action. Commanders have taken, whenever we hear about such an activity, we take immediate action. I want to tell our population that we'll be putting forward a hotline very soon, so that any such activities is reported to our different forces or to our political leadership. Let Ambazonians understand that there is pain that comes with a strive for a free homeland. And we're doing all in our capacity without any form of external support to be able to fight and establish political system with the little we have. There are some of these negativities that will happen, but I'm appealing to each and every one of them that these things are temporal. It should not cloud their optimism. We will do everything in our capacity to make sure that they receive some level of protection during this phase of transition.
This revolution, as most of us have embraced it. Remember, some of us come from this, we were born into this system of occupation, and we have come to embrace this revolution. And it started up, the coffin revolution, as deep as our people, in our own mind, it started off with the coffin revolution. And now that it has really moved into this war situation, and you are now the leader of the war effort, basically, in terms of your influence on ground zero. What are you specifically doing to try to address the issue of education right to our children in Ambazonia, in particularly those in the rural areas who are hit the most? I understand that I've seen some schools that were opened by the ADF, the ADF in ground zero. We have also seen some of your coalition forces, like the forces who are in partnership with the ADF, like the forces of General Ariki, opening some community schools in areas that they think it's functional. But we have not seen any comprehensive mobilization of our people to have a wartime policy for national education. I want also to add this there, that we have seen a horrible video of some fighters targeting and sending warning against education of our children, even out of our territory. Are you not worried that the lack of a comprehensive policy of education to our children is being exploited by the enemy, and some of our fighters on the ground might be misled to turn their guns towards teachers and children who just want to have education, even in their houses?
You know, our war of independence is multifaceted. it's in the age of social media. You just said here at the beginning of this show that, you know, as a blogger, as a social media activist, that's your job, and you are not a leader. What we have observed in our own war of independence is that there is prescription of policy from behind Facebook channels. And that has made our job extremely very difficult. There is deliberation in the part of some to inject some level of authority on the ground that creates a kind of chaos that we have observed in the past. We had designed a program where you can have local population constituting themselves to provide some level of education to our pupils. Early education is good for reading and writing. And so I am concerned with this particular lack of early education for our children. I know my defense secretary has been doing a lot of mobilization within the area. I think of Ngoki Tungia. I've spoken to commanders. We've recruited 3 teachers that we think can do some work. I think it is necessary for this comprehensive educational policy and to also work with UNESCO, because if the international system believes that the right to education is important, and I think they will work with the new political authority of the land to help our effort in providing this elementary education to our children. And so we will be working away with UNESCO to see that this happens. I know there is a misconception that, you know, we don't want our children to receive education. No, we don't want our children to go into unsafe blocks and schools that are sometimes being used as military bases by the occupying regime. We don't have the kind of propaganda and media exposure that Yaoundé has. And we have seen sometimes from captured videos, military burning down chiefs' palaces, sitting around Sacred Heart and torching that institution down. We are aware of students of the University of Boya protesting peacefully and shouting no violence, and that same evening students were raped from in their hostels. So we are dealing with a criminal enterprise that has carried out systematic impunity on our people, and we cannot assure the security of our people. Human right is interdependent, indivisible, and you cannot prioritize the right to Cameroon's version of going to school against the right to life and security. I also want to let our people know that we are working hard to make sure we design a curriculum of education that is responsive to the need of our people in the 21st century, and that an Ambazonian transitional authority or government will provide free education, fast-track education for all those who've missed years, and we'll work with our international partners, you know, to use, you know, the availability of internet, you know, to speed up, education within our communities. In the next 1 year, I am definitely very sure that the dynamics on the ground will change. It will basically change. They should have trust in what we do and have a little more sacrifice, you know, to guarantee us that possibility. And lastly on this, what Cameroon is doing is deliberate. Cameroon knows they've lost it. Cameroon, that claimed political authority over us, has been unable, you know, as you said, you know, to have its administrators within our country. It has been unable, you know, to politically govern us. It has been unable to reopen their schools to intoxicate our people with their version of education. And with this reality, Cameroon is struggling hard, you know, to push students back to school, to show the world that it has normalized the situation and to stop international intervention. Once Cameroon can show that it has normalized the situation and is willing to resolve the issue, there will be no need for the international community to be involved. And so we should be very careful with what Cameroon is doing.
So should the Ambazonian parents expect that from the way you have addressed this issue and the information that the AGOVC is working on a curriculum, is it time for the AGOVC to have its weight behind this policy by having a whole department for education?
I've been looking at that particular aspect, especially I will be creating a Department of Education. I have earmarked a couple of persons who have been working on girls' education in Africa, you know, to possibly man that department. I also want to look at it from a cross-movement perspective, bring the experts from different movements for us to develop, you know, a kind of system that can work across the territory. But from an AGOVC perspective, it is a priority. We cannot simply ask our kids also to stay home without providing clarity on what we need to do or we want to do or we can do. And I think in the coming weeks, there will be clarity on the kind of institution that will be dealing with this particular issue.
Yeah, going down to defense issues, I want to start with the good before I go to the bad. So we have seen a video released by Amber News of some Sokadev forces returning some weapons that were seized a couple of months ago from an ADF camp that was overrun using the human shield, and that was very positive. I think it's a lesson for the forces who were in Batibo, who had seized, they are still in possession of some weapons of ADF. What message do you have for those groups who still have ADF, who are still in keeping of ADF weapons which were not given to them, like General Ayaba used to go around and share weapons? What message do you have for those fighters and the people who are controlling them from the diaspora?
What I can tell them is this. If you seize weapons of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, we will get back those weapons. It's a matter of time. We will get the weapons. You will provide it voluntarily, or we will take it. You know, we've spent a lot of money to equip different groups and to train commanders. And we've experienced a lot of setbacks because these commanders have been instrumentalized. In the past weeks and months, we've been working hard on the issue of Mator. I don't usually speak on these issues because it doesn't serve any purpose ranting, making threats on issues as delicate as this, especially when the enemy can pick up intelligence and harm either defense group. But I can assure all of our people, if you take the weapons of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, we will collect those weapons. And I am also very happy with the Sokadev forces on the ground. I was briefed a couple of days ago on the moves that were being taken. And I was briefed today on the successful transfer of a couple of those weapons. And I encourage the Ambazonian Defense Forces as the leading vanguard force on the ground to continuously work with other groups on the ground and ignore all political charlatans who try to intoxicate the media space, instrumentalizing fighters on the ground. It is for the interest of you fighters on the ground to work together. It is your life that is at stake the most. You are on the front line, and you should make sure you collaborate with one another to defend your block. As lockdown begins tomorrow, we want to see that collaboration manifest itself. I have been watching how commanders are communicating. I'm very, very proud of our boys, untrained, but have the courage, they have the ability to be able to coordinate. I think the Ambazonian people see and know what is going on. They will really be proud of our guys. They are the finest breed of men that God ever put on planet Earth.
Yeah. To draw your feet a little bit on the backside, are you surprised that distractors, they still try to raise the issue of the Gozang incident, which was basically, from my investigation, talking from the fighters who were on the ground was a crossfire, and they have tried always to bring these issues of the death of those soldiers, in particularly those ones who were under arrest before the crossfire incident happened. That die-hard critics have always tried to bring this issue again and again, no matter how you provide answers. Not just die-hard people, like even Bo Herbert have tried to inject this issue and raise these questions, like the ADF is not doing enough to take some responsible for the crossfire incident, or things like that. I'm not one to put you on the back foot on this again, to ask you the same question, because I asked it on my last conversation I had with you. But do you think the ADF has taken some public responsibility, according to what these people are saying, if you would want to address this issue again? Because when you had the last interview on the Barata News platform, we heard the question being raised in public, and this platform believe in, and is no Kunny, so we want to bring it to you again, and it's not something that I want to do. I think it's just nonsense, because I've personally investigated this incident. I was involved even before you got involved with the crossfire that happened there. Do you think the ADF has taken enough responsibility or provide enough information for the public not to allow distractors to keep on raising the same issue?
Oh, yes. Capo, we attacked La République when they declared war on us, killed our people. We fought them. I took responsibility. I wasn't scared of La République. I wasn't scared of La République. And so I'm not bothered about these detractors. There is nothing they can do. I know some of them, when they meet me, they spin up. We've explained a lot. We've even set up a commission headed by our communications director that included some of the groups and some of the people out here who have been shouting. The evidence were presented, and it was clear. If I had authorized, or if the defense chairman or any deputy leader had authorized, the actions in Batibo, I would have come out and said it. And I'm very sad that people lost their lives, but those responsible are the fanatics out there who instrumentalize soldiers. There is nothing they can do. They've talked about Guzang. They created a facade in London, which they've hung onto it. They have assaulted my dignity for so long. They have assaulted everything of mine. Whatever I have worked so hard with our team to put out there to advance our struggle. They've built conspiracy theories. But I can tell you, they are wasting their time. You can't move a mountain. You can't. Our forces are trying to work together. They don't like it. They don't like it because it takes away from them the power they try to claim. We're trying to work somehow to collaborate with Seseko. They don't like it because it was easy for them to manipulate those forces. You cannot manipulate the Ambazonian Defense Forces because it's a structure. It was easy for them to use all sort of political mechanisms out here to instrumentalize and use the name of Seseko. They know that will stop if the AGOFC gets involved. So all of these people who are intoxicating our population, we will hold them accountable. Let them know. Biya has ruled us for so long. He never knew this time will come. Let them continue. There will be accountability. They should not bother because their actions, all the actions that they have taken has caused the lives of our people. And they think each time we want to build cohesion, we want to find some understanding on any core issue, it disrupts them a lot. And they go on the offensive, intoxicating our population, throwing things that are not factual, trying to be relevant in the face of the brutality that our people are facing. They talk about, you know, I don't really want to get into this thing because we lose lives on a daily basis. We lose lives on a daily basis. And I don't want to sit here months after months and talking about, you know, their nonsense. My sister is buried in Goza. I've told them. The cartel, the tribal cartel that they think they wanna claim a Momo. They will face me. Ambazonia will not be a tribal village. It will be a place where every citizen can live anywhere, walk anywhere, feel at home anywhere, fight anywhere. We will dismantle their cartel the way we dismantle Cameroon block by block. I don't have time for their trivialities. They've set us back decades. I don't have time to respond to them because on a daily basis, we deal with very difficult issues. But there will come a time, and let them wait.
Yeah. So, sir, for those who are my viewers, I'm taking note of some of the points that they're dropping so that I can include them in my question. And this is the No Kunny Talk Zone. So it is not an entertainment show. We try to get as much answer from our leader because we know when you are out there, you are addressing both the international community, but this is a show that is focused on ground zero, and that is what we do. So CIC, Akeremona's top surrogates in our revolution, Theodore Ngumba, have been pushing this idea, and it has also been mentioned by some of your distractors or diehard critics that that all Ambazonian leaders are equally sinners. You know, they have been equally sinners and equally corrupt in some way. I don't know what is behind that agenda of pushing this line of thought. And they are trying to cite some example that in assisting those of our people who have run away from political persecution to seek asylum, and to help them substantiate their claim or recognize or testify on their behalf. You have, as a leader of the leadership, have been charging them exorbitant money, and somehow we should not treat those who are now doing corruption in this new age as though it is something strange. What would you say? This thing is unsubstantiated, of course, but what would you say to those people to address this type of issue that have been raised primarily by Theodore Ngumba and some of your diehard distractors?
I don't know if I've ever heard of the name Theodore Ngumba, but no, that's not a policy. It's not a policy of the Ambazonian Governing Council. The Department of Human Rights and Humanitarian Affairs, you know, would investigate and provide whatever support through the missions to our members and to Ambazonians. When I was in Canada, I also made it clear to AGOC mission that they have an obligation to help every Ambazonian, whether they are members of the Ambazonian Governing Council or not. And members of the Ambazonian Governing Council pay their own membership dues. That is a matter of policy. It is not associated with whether they are seeking and claiming political asylum. You pay your membership dues. And so it is dealt with at the level of the missions in collaboration with the Humanitarian and Human Rights Department. They can throw whatever claim they want to throw. Ambazonians spend thousands and thousands of dollars paying lawyers to make depositions on their behalf. And I think that when you are a member of a particular organization, you follow the policy of that organization in terms of your membership dues. They've been spinning a lot of stuff out there, you know, to discredit the leadership. the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council is not corrupt. We have one of the most robust accountability system within Ambazonian Governing Council. And I can say about myself, I've never been corrupt. And whatever they want to throw, they should continuously throw it out there. And if it serves them well, that's fine. But there is the notion of accountability. The necessity for accountability is primordial in building an independent Ambazonia that is different from Cameroon.
So in terms of handling things like finance or fees of membership, I understand from your visit in Canada, we were just trying to get a pause to make we had a presentation in this platform where we wanted to talk about accountability in the Ague of Sea. And when we reached your office, you were not even aware of the amount of money that was raised in Canada. you didn't even know the amount of money.
I am not even. I am not still aware. I am not still aware. I go in and I mobilize. The mission is responsible. They deal with the finance secretary. I have no business with that.
So Ambazonian people should be rest assured that the executive office of the president of the Ague of Sea does not deal with finance. So there is no way your house bill are being paid. There is no way you will run to a hotel or organize some birthday parties and using donations or maybe money collected for members to pay your bills.
Can the Ague of Sea pay my bills? No, can the Ague of Sea really pay my bills? Capo, move to a more important subject.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And we are getting into, I think, 1 hour, almost 1 hour, 30 minutes in the show. So we will be trying to round up so that we don't consume all your times. And this is a show for our people. And I will talk for Pidgin for at CIC. You know, our first language, Pidgin. So we will talk for CIC for Pidgin. So I say, Papa, now with this lockdown, it come for Ambazonia where they don't declare, and this 2-week lockdown where it come. I understand the deliberation they will go on, and for the later way, the Ague of Sea be sent on our side, with the later way, the IG be sent on our side. They mentioned, say them accept the ghost town, how it be. So I don't know whether when I feel say people that were ground zero, that 2 weeks not about plenty. 2 weeks lockdown from Monday to Monday. We will not say better past the one way the defunct IG and those members who were dismissing the IG had declared, which was basically 1 month ghost town. You know, things say that this 2 week ghost town still plenty. Wait, you go talk for ground zero people the way they carry this suffer for their heart for this lockdown.
Yeah, the 2 weeks is long. It's long. I don't want to change it in the middle because once the forces agreed on it, I didn't quite look at it carefully. I didn't really see it was 2 weeks until it's long, and it should not happen again. I will not endorse any lockdown that is above 3 days.
So
except
we
yes,
say
yes.
The unity way they come, it will get some better mechanism way when I will finish down together for take decision where all man will put idea fine with consultation, because on general the ground zero they will talk say the consultation mechanism never be very smooth running with their own opinion they enter for inside.
No, what we do is we first allow the generals and the commanders to consult. You know, this thing is a political issue. You know, it's a political issue. And as I said to one of the commanders today, defense is a component. And with my policy of triangulation, we want to elevate defense at the same level. So when the political leadership looks at the necessity of lockdown, we basically consult with within the ADF, the defense chairman, and he consults with his council, and it goes down to the generals. The generals consult and see the necessity and respond. Sometimes the generals themselves decide they should be locked down. And there is consultation with the political leadership, and we find a common working ground. And this is very healthy if we want to prevent post-independence chaos within Ambazonia. Let everyone feel important, those doing the dying, those doing the talking, and everyone is treated from a position of respect and equality. So we will improve on that mechanism. And we've seen the reaction of Ambazonian people. We've heard the outbursts of anger because of the lengthy lockdown without explanation. It's just like we are decreeing, policies without consultation. I have also made it as a matter of policy to time and again explain why we take some decisions, why we make some policies. And I've been doing that. And I promise our people that I will not be endorsing very long lockdowns. This one is critical. This is September. Independence Day is on the 1st of October. We are in the month where a massive number of our people came out on the streets. This is the month of the General Assembly. Let's sacrifice more. It's going to make a difference.
Some people they talk say pobia they can't die. Say they be carry pobia for hospital moto go carry and go to for France. The 1 year say they don't go for Switzerland. So if pobia na true say pobia and die, if pobia go can die tomorrow, when I be the occupy our territory. Now which kind of thing where Ambazonia they go do? If tomorrow do I wake up then yes say pobia and die, me then do it.
I don't talk say I don't talk say pobia don't match tiger ite. And may you know say kanda no be leather. Yeah, make it this generation is a generation that will dig pobia's grave. Our people must be prepared for any eventuality. They must be prepared. This is the scenario. Pobia dies. You don't have, we know, there is no constitutionalism in Cameroon that clearly defines who takes over power. Even those that are in line of authority don't have the kind of power that Pobia's clan members have. So these are the possible scenarios. One, Bia dies, the military takes over. That's scenario one. Scenario two, Pobia dies, civil war breaks out between the northern flank and the center southeastern flank. So there is chaos. In the midst of that chaos, what do we do? In the midst of scenario one, what do we do? I don't want to prescribe what is going to happen, but we are talking with the generals. We're talking with the generals. What is supposed to be done? And we are preparing different scenarios and how we're going to react on that. And I can assure the Ambazonian people that Pobia's death at this stage of our war of independence is going to instantly terminate Cameroon's presence on the ground. And we will immediately submit application for membership of the United Nations, ECOWAS, African Union, and basically bring more pressure to bear on the international system to recognize Ambazonia. Because if they don't, they will not be able to deal with the amount of chaos that will happen. They will not be able to deal with the repercussions, the implications of that chaos. And so we've got these things worked out. We know exactly what we are supposed to do. And we know exactly what we are expecting from the international system. So our people should be ready that the political leadership understands that this may happen, what it should do, what the mood, and what we should communicate to the population. We don't want to communicate messages at this particular moment that will get a countermeasure from the regime. But we have a blueprint plan And there is an element inside that is going to be decisive. And I think Ambazonians must be very confident.
You get any message for talk for people where they chop money now? Like people where they don't enter inside civil service already when they enjoy for this occupation. Those one the way they feel say, they fear say tomorrow some Ambazonia struggle will go trace and something that Gary. If tomorrow the country the one separate, they go do now how? They go get any guarantee say if they support Ambazonia independent, they go they fine, or they go begin the strife for protect their small Gary for support the continual occupation of our territory.
One of the things we must know is that we have an obligation to every Ambazonian, whether they support or they don't support. The people we are more concerned with are those who are against and who enable colonialism within Ambazonia. There are thousands and thousands of our people that are making a living working within some of the institutions of Cameroon. We have told those at high political level of influence that it is time to quit, because you are facilitating the continuous presence of Cameroon in our territory and its impending implication on the lives of our people. But we don't want to engage in retribution. Post-independence Ambazonia will be a time of happiness, where the good, the bad, and the ugly will all rally in tears, thinking about all those who've left us prematurely, and to work together to build a more prosperous and inclusive country for each and everyone. And so I encourage everyone who is still part of the political system of Cameroon to do justice to our people who are suffering and abandon that system. There is a price to pay. And I also tell all those who are continuously propagating Cameroon's legitimacy over Ambazonia to abandon that pathway. It's a dangerous pathway because there are immediate consequences for their actions. I know people say there is the right to freedom of speech. No. When I had a BBC interview, I made it clear to the BBC, and I asked it like a question. What do you think Winston Churchill would have done if, when the Germans were raining bombs on London, and there was a political leader in London saying Britain should live under Germany, Britain can form a federation with Germany, what do you think would have been the reaction of the United Kingdom? What do you think would have been the reaction of France when Germany made an incursion with passing through Alsace-Lorraine, took over France, and there was a political leader sitting there and trying to justify Germany's, right or presence within France? What do you think the French people would have done? And so do you think these people don't ascribe to the right to freedom of speech and freedom of opinion at a time of threat to the life of a nation? There is only one opinion, that of our collective survival. Any other person propagating, enabling Cameroon's continuous presence for 1 second in our land is doing a disservice to the millions of people who believe in a free homeland.
Well, President, we know say we'll get to replant the suit, but now say we'll not get enough time. 1 year more of the project the way the ongoing because not time for war. But the nature for this no Kunny talk now, so we try to get at least more accounts for whole truths to power. Now, why the way my question line then be this way? I beg forgive me if I know about our focus about the projects and way the ongoing. Would you try? Would you follow that one where you did address the public more? So, but I want to see follow up for asking about
1 second. One second before you continue. I've got 10% of my charge. So I would appreciate if you speedily round up.
Okay, I'll do that, sir. The Pan-Cameroonian political party, the ASDF, they are sending out signals that they will not get into the coming election. That will mean that our territory, the parliamentarians now who does not have the mandate from the people because they were not re-elected, and even the election is based on an illegal mandate. The coming election will likely face a scenario where the ruling colonial party, the CPDM, will probably be the only party on the ballot box in Ambazonia, the only significant party in the Ambazonia. What is your take on this scenario?
That's foreign news, right?
Yes.
You remember the last election? you remember the response of our people during the last political charade? You remember our people marching in their hundreds of thousands to the homes of enablers, calling themselves senators and parliamentarians and asking them, to withdraw. I don't think our people are telling these people to withdraw. Simply, it's because we have a history, right? We have members of parliament who withdrew from the Eastern House of Assembly in Nigeria and set up office in Boya. And that immediately got us out of Nigeria. And these people are very selfish, extremely very selfish. I can assure you. When I come to think about it, that you claim a mandate from our people, you've all escaped the territory you're hiding in La Republique simply because you don't want to lose some pennies, from the coffers of the occupier. You are legislating and legitimizing a political system that is murdering your own people. And you have your own leader come out time and again with a cosmetic gesture, we will not take part in an election. Where is his boldness? Where is his manhood? Where is, power to the people's slogan? Where is his sense of understanding of the times, the pain and suffering of our people? Isn't it time for him to be bold and leave a legacy that his children will be proud of? I'm shocked, but we've made up our mind, and at the appropriate time, he was in for questioning. And if they continue, and I hear one enabler who has become an enabler in chief, writing political charades in human rights organization, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that you prioritize your own career, you prioritize, you stick to your guns on a baseless, argument, to continuously grant an occupying and murderous regime, some sense of normalcy in our homeland. These are traitors, and there is always one single place for a caliber of men like themselves.
So before your batteries run out, I'll be rounding up, and I want to just ask you this question. This one is a hot one. Former president of the consortium, Ayaba Bala, on his Twitter, accuses and lay the blame of no school resumption on our revolution. It will be very surprising to a lot of people who have not read it. I was writing a piece that because of my other obligation, I was unable to make a post about that. So Ayaba Bala, who was part of the team with standing shoulder to shoulder with Pata Sangwifred to declare the school boycott, sending out a tweet to lay the blame on Ambazonian fighters and on the revolution for no school resumption. What would you say to that, to those people who have been following this struggle from the beginning?
I think Ayaba Bala should explain himself more. He should explain himself more. And I think we should question him.
I'll do that. I'll try my best. And this is a no Kunny talk show.
You cannot question
people him. Do not talk. People who are not clean don't talk to Capo Daniel. So bet me Ayaba Bala have long stopped talking to me. But I'm going to try.
You should not be questioned. You should not be questioned on your platform. But I think we should ask him. We should ask him a couple of questions. I'll leave
to the audience. I'm going to send a WhatsApp question on this line to Ayaba Bala to explain himself, because to see him on those images, we cherish them so much. Our population cherished them so much. The day all the civil society came together and decided to tell the public who control our territory. That was a very important speech they did Abobala standing shoulder to shoulder with the leaders of the teachers union and making that declaration, for the same person to come on Twitter and lay the blame of school boycott to the Ambazonian revolution. Come on, for goodness sake. Some people don't have shame. Some people don't have shame. It's unfortunate that we have gone through this educational system where our people have lack a sense of entitlement and some basic sense of dignity, that you don't see the outrage. But I'm totally pissed off. I'm totally pissed off with Abobala. So, sir, thank you very much for taking your time to come to this platform and face me and all my hardball questions. I don't think they're hardball for you anyway, but thank you very much for always being there to speak to our people and take questions. And thank you for your leadership in the Ague of Sea, to be a transparent. You are a beacon to our democracy. And I think leaders like you have shown us that people do respect what they put their pen to. And we please do not blink. We count on your leadership. You are the hope of the never again generation. And we pray for the unity drive between you and Seseko Ayuktabi, the Ague of Sea, and the IG. We hope, sir, that this time the population will be aware of the needy, greedy, any resolution and any conclusion that will be made. We want to be aware, because we believe in the power of public opinion to hold our leadership to account to what they have agreed. Because the betrayal of the leadership council by the governing council, the keeping aside of memorandum of understanding that was so basic, is beyond my comprehension. I don't know whether I've lived in Hong Kong for so long to be so outraged about that. But we are hoping that your leadership, together with Yerima, is not going to give us the same plate of soup. We hope that we are going to be reassured publicly, and including the side of diplomacy as well, that when you balance the need of secrecy, please continue to give us the information we need to know. We have suffered a lot. Our people they have not been treated like people who deserve to know anything. I remember the election of Ndele, of Foncha. I read some of their speeches. Some of them were belittling our population who had to vote for them. They were saying, if you vote or you don't vote, we have those who are going to vote for us. We hope to have better from you guys. Closing statement, sir.
Thank you, Kapo. Thanks for your service to our country. And thanks to our people, our suffering mothers and our suffering fathers, parents. Thanks to the resilience of our population and all those out here on a daily basis who are campaigning and fighting for a free homeland. I have made my pledge to all of you. I will not fail you. I will not blink. I will stand for what is right for Ambazonia. Cameroon will be bundled out of our country. And I can assure you that you will have a brighter future in a new homeland. It begins now. You cannot sweep misguided ideas and policies under the carpet at this moment. I hope to God Almighty that in a new nation, you're going to unravel and unveil new ideas. The ideals of freedom and liberty for which we've bled is sacrosanct and is something we should begin to practice at this particular moment. And I call on all Ambazonians to hold us to account, but to stop the negativity. Show some love. Lead with ideas. Debate issues. Disagree with respect. And take responsibility for your actions. There will be accountability in Ambazonia. We will hold the regime accountable for the pain they've imposed on us. As far as the international system is concerned, let them know we are in charge. The rules of negotiations, the rules of diplomacy, we've also studied them. We are the children of the Ndeles and the Fonchas, and we've learned our lessons. We thank our soldiers on the ground. Lockdown begins tomorrow. We expect the country to be shut down. I appeal to our suffering population to persevere more. Homeland will be free for our children. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. And shortly for our revolution, may freedom, democracy, civil liberty be in